Hi, and welcome to my studio. I'm Sherrie Siemens, and this is for Copic markers, and I'm doing a little bit of ink painting today, so something totally fun and experimental. We're starting off with sheets of paper that is translucent, very much like a Yupo, like a plastic paper, so non-porous, so that my reinkers will just kind of glide all over on them, and I can make some really cool designs. So I'm going to start by just doing something that's inspired me lately. It was outside. I have a really pretty cherry blossom tree, and so I'm going to try and recreate that a little. So I'm going to start off with some ground. So here I have YG61, and I'm just doing a little bit of ground here, and I can use a cloth here to kind of help fill that ground in a bit. All right, and then I'm going to go quite a bit darker than that. I'm going to go into G94, so a little bit grayer and definitely darker than YG61. So let's add a little bit of that. And then again, use my towel just to kind of help blend that in there a little bit. All right, so we have the ground going. So now the next little more tricky part that I want to attempt is the tree. So I'm going to start with E37. So it's quite a dark earth tone color. And I'm going to try to encourage my tree to grow. So I'm going to start it right at the top here. And I'm going to try to encourage this tree. All right. And what I'm using right now, just because I'm just trying to create a path for this tree, is a water pen that has been filled with blender solution. So that's what I have going here. I'm not worrying about ink collecting here at the very top, because I'm going to trim this afterwards. But what I want to do is I want to kind of create this tree shape. So I'm trying to get a little wider here at the trunk. Kind of encourage it to look somewhat tree-like. All right. And then I'm going to kind of get the top here to dry. All right. Now, I'm going to come in with a little bit of a darker color than that, even. Maybe just a couple drops of E49. So let me grab that one. I think I have it open here somewhere. Actually, E25, I think. Choosing the color is the worst part. So here, we're going to go E25, and again, broader at the base, and then let it kind of climb up, which is a really cool look to it. All right. Now I want to encourage some branches on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a little drop and try to encourage some branches. All right. And here too, just a tiny little. And the more vertical I hold it, the more of a fine line I get, and so I think I will do that more for my other branches. I'm going to switch back to my E37 and do another I'm going to have a branch kind of go this way. Now I can use my water pen that's filled with blender, and I can help. These look a little wide here, so I'm going to skinny them out a bit. So I'm going to clean up a bit of that. So see how you can kind of go and fix things a little with your blender solution. So here too, this got a little bit wide, so I'm just encouraging this to skinny out. And so then when I come in with a really dark color, I'm going to fix that a bit. So here's that E49 I was talking about, and the darker colors seem to run a little, the beads are a little finer. So first of all, I'm going to add a bit to the trunk here so it doesn't look too out of place. And I'm going to encourage it to meld in. Alright, so you get this kind of cool looking tree here. Alright, and then I'm going to encourage some of this dark ink to make branches. Alright. So you can see how the darker ink seems to want to flow a little slower and not quite as wide. Alright. And I need some going this way too. Alright, and once you kind of have them going, you can always kind of keep continuing them with your blender solution. Alright. I'm going to add some blender in here, try to encourage this white space. Alright, so you can see how the branches are kind of doing their own thing here. Alright, and I'm still working on this area. You can see that I'm not happy with how thick that got, so I'm thinning it out. It never works exactly how you want it to work, especially when you're on camera. Alright, gonna thin that out. Alright. So, in the background here, it might be fun to add a little bit of blue sky. So I'm going to come with a really light blue. So B00 here. And I am going to kind of run it in this spare space here. And while it's wet, I'm going to really just move it around with my water pen. And just get sky to happen there. So let's see if that helps this problem over here that I had right here. So we're going to add some sky here and see if that helps. Actually did. I actually quite like that. right, and then I'm going to add another bit of sky right there. And another drop right there. A little bit over here. All right, you get the idea. So let's switch to a clean sheet of paper here so that you can see better what I'm doing. All right, this is what we have going so far. So now we need to add some blossoms. And so I'm going to use just this little dish that I have. And I'm just putting a piece of tape down here so you can see me do this. Little dish. And I'm going to fill it with a little bit of R85 and a little bit of RV14, not a whole lot of that one because that's a little bright, and quite a bit of R30. And for this, I'm going to use just a regular paintbrush. I'm going to wet it a little bit with some blender. Oh, good thing I checked, there was black in that paintbrush. So let's clean the paintbrush first. All right, I'm going to go back to my water painter. And I'm going to pick up a bit of these colors and I am going to kind of flick them on. So these are going to be my blossoms. So they are just going to appear here like this on the top. All right, so that's the R85. And I'm going to come in with a little bit of this RV14. It's a pretty color too, so we'll go with that. And then the R30. Oh, I like that. It needs a little more of the R85 though. Needs a little bit more of that pink. All right. Oh, I like how that turned out. So then the ground looks a little bit boring, so we're going to add a little bit of texture to the ground. So I'm going to, with the same blender solution, I put it in a spritzer, and then I'm just going to spray a towel to add a little bit of texture here. So it's in a mister bottle here, and I'm just going to spritz up a towel just to get a little bit of something happening to the grass line here, just so it doesn't look quite so ordinary. But you can tell it's a hillside that's more in the background. So that's a little play with something called ink painting, and you never know what you're going to end up with, but it's really fun to play around and watch the inks intermingle. So I'll put this together on a project and put it up on my blog, and it's going on Copic's blog as well. So thank you for watching.